Welcome to Sophie and Nathan's wedding party. Thank you very much for coming, and it's finally stopped raining, so we're delighted that you're all here. I have got a few things written down, so I don't want to go off track, so I am going to get my notes out. So the first thing I want to say is a very special welcome to Nathan into our family.
Hey.
You are very welcome into the Goulding. I know that you're not taking on our name, which is disappointing, but we'll forgive you for that. But yeah, we really want to welcome you into our family. We've seen a reasonable amount of you over the last sort of 12 months or so that you've been seeing Sophie, but you are very welcome, and it's great to have you as part of our family. It's difficult, really, because I don't really feel that this is the true father of the bride speech, because I'm not quite sure whether there is going to be a second opportunity to do this or not, really. Whether April's actually going to happen or not, none of us really know. But nevertheless, I thought it was important, and I wanted to say just a few words, Sophie. Before I do, I want to say a few thank yous. First of all, I want to thank the boss for the use of the campsite. It's a shame we haven't been able to experience all the beauty here, although hopefully the sun will come out, but hopefully we'll have a bit of a wander around over towards the river, which is just behind us later, but it is beautiful. So we are very grateful to be able to use the site. It's quite a large pitch that we've taken here, Nathan, so I hope you've got a checkbook out. we do charge by the size of the tent that you do pitch.
We'll sort that out later.
You'll sort that out later. So thank you for the use of the campsite. Secondly, I want to thank Charles Crosland for the beautiful service this morning. Charles, really grateful for that. And you are a very special part of our little family of friends and so on. We've got to know you and your wonderful family, and James in particular, you referenced him earlier. So Charles and Susan used to be ministers at Ross, just down the road here at Ross on Wye. And we actually got to know them a few years ago when we met them in France on holiday. And I genuinely think it was when Sophie was about 10 and James would have been about 11 or 12 that we got to know you guys. And it was possibly that sparked Sophie's love of special needs children. And James is a very special part of Sophie's life even today. So thank you for taking the service this morning. We are deeply grateful. I want to thank the techies from GBC. They aren't here, but we saw them up in the balcony and stood behind the camera and doing whatever it was this morning. And to Tony and Colin Taylor, who I know has been the bane of your life, Sophie. I want to thank them. I know they're not here, but just want to mention them in passing as well. Thank you to Andrew Ridgway and the Horwithy Massive who put this tent up on Tuesday evening to find that there were no sides to it, which then forced us to put this one up yesterday morning to then find the sides to this last night. So what that's given us is a far bigger marquee than we thought we were going to get. So we are very grateful to them. The second tent was borrowed from a family that we've only just got to know through Zoom church over the last month or two, the Miners from St Wonards. And when I emailed them last night with a picture of it all up to say thank you, and it's gone up and it looks good, she wrote back, said, I'm reminded that when I lived in Uganda, I think they were missionaries out there, they always wanted it to rain on a wedding day, as it was a symbol of God's blessing of refreshment and fruitfulness on the marriage. So I thought that's what they pray for, rain on their wedding day. And she said that my students thought it was utterly hilarious that we would prefer sunshine. So there you go. They prayed for rain. We certainly didn't. We got it anyway. So thank you to the people that have helped put up the marquee and decorate it and so on. And a very special welcome. They're not here, but we were going to try and get them in a little bit later. But to Mr. and Mrs. O, Andy O and his wife, who were looking after the campsite today. They were here yesterday helping us get the tent up. They've been cleaning the toilets and so on site. So we are grateful to them. So we must get them in a little bit later. During lockdown, we've all had the opportunity to watch various things on Netflix or I don't know, catch up. But last week we watched Our Wedding on DVD because it's something that Nathan very kindly had taken off VHS. We hadn't watched it for many years. We got married that long ago. and we thought we'd watch it. And there were some surprising similarities between our wedding 28 years ago. Sarah doesn't kind of remember. 20 years ago, and the wedding today. First of all, the wedding. Both of our weddings were at Gorsley.
Yeah.
The configuration was slightly different. We had a few more people crammed in, and we had a different minister. It was Pat Goodland, who took our ceremony. I think Pat and you have many similarities, Charles. That's a compliment, by the way. It is a compliment. Yeah.
He was a good friend too.
He was a good friend and a very good minister. So, first similarity at the same venue. Second similarity, both receptions were here at Tressett Farm in a marquee.
Yeah.
So we had a marquee over the back towards the farm itself that day in 1992, and you've got a marquee here today down at the campsite. Now you didn't want a marquee because when you first got engaged, first thing that Sarah said was, well, would you like a marquee on the farm? And Sophie said, no. But we got our way in the end. So second thing, we had a marquee. We both had marquees. Third similarity, it rained. It rained on our day and it's rained on ours. And actually, very similarly, and I was just talking to Jamie and Wendy, it rained all the way through the service and up until the point that we got to our reception, just like you. I think it rained on your day as well, didn't it? So all the best weddings.
All the blessings coming on.
It rains on your wedding, yeah.
You guys have got it right.
Yeah, you guys have got it right, absolutely right. So the fourth similarity, the bride was absolutely beautiful in 1992 and she's absolutely beautiful today. Chip off the old block there, Sophie. That's absolutely right. And also there was it was for me and hopefully for Sarah, was on our wedding a palpable sense of joy and excitement, and there is today. And there certainly was at the church, and there is in this marquee today. So, and then finally, Christian couple coming together to start a new Christian family, and another important similarity between our wedding and your wedding today. Now, this of course isn't anything that any of us had wanted or planned for. Just 30 of us. Have we done a head count? Is there more than 30?
We're not counting one.
We're not counting one person. Okay, who have we got to chuck out? But there are some upsides, I want to tell you, of a delayed wedding party. I've been thinking about this. So first of all, we've got more time, darling, to save for the Breed and Breed Big Bash. If it ever happens, of course. It might not ever happen, but we got a little bit longer to save a little bit of money for the big party. Secondly, Sophie gets to wear her dress twice. Now that, in my opinion, and I'm sure your mum's as an accountant, that's spreading the investment.
Price per wear, Dad.
Price per wear, yeah, very good. So it's only like half, yeah, indeed. So we're getting twice the return on our investment, indeed. And the other upside of the delay in the big bash is that the stash of alcohol in our garage is helping me through lockdown. I haven't quite got right through those 25 cases of wine that we bought from France a few months ago, but it's certainly helping. So those are the upsides. The downsides of a delayed wedding party, it's quite frankly been twice the stress. So in a year, in the midst of COVID, our kitchen extension, which keeps collapsing, the campsite, which has gone crazy busy now that we've opened post-COVID. We don't have one event organised, but two. So that's one of the downsides. The downside is, of course, we've got 2 bashes to pay for. So we've got longer to save for it, but there's 2 lots of everything that we've got to get. And of course, there are 2 dresses for Sarah. Actually, no, that's in the benefits column because she needed more clothes in addition to her Portaloo cleaning outfit that she's purchased recently. So yeah, this isn't what we planned, but actually it's all part of what God has planned, and we're grateful for what we've been able to do today, albeit in a smaller way. So I just wanted to say a few words about our daughter Sophie, as is customary. Sophie, you've been an amazing daughter, and I'm sure you'll continue to be an amazing daughter. There's only one thing that's bigger than your laugh, and that's your heart for people, and as we know, particularly for people with special needs. And some of us were around a few years ago when I said a few words at your 21st, so I'm not going to repeat those, but how we've seen you mature into a beautiful, amazing Christian woman, and we are so proud of that. We are so grateful that you found a faith, your own personal faith, and you're growing into this amazing Christian lady. But I also spoke a little bit about we've heard about your awakening, if you like, of your love for children with special needs with James. And I think I recall at your 21st how I remember being in a Tesco's checkout in Hereford in Belmont. Actually, it was a miserable day. I was going to say like today, but it's brightening up out there a little bit now. And we were queuing to get their groceries. I was a bit moody because I don't like doing the shopping. But just along the back walked it was a special needs girl. You don't remember this, and I just watched you, and you were like this, and then you saw this girl walk by with her parents, and your face just lit up. I don't know what age you would have been, but it was just evidence of the fact that you were drawn to people like that, and that is wonderful. You never cease to surprise us with your zest for life, your optimism and positivity, and these last few months have been a real test for you and Nathan, as you've adapted your plans and changed your plans on a number of occasions. We are very grateful indeed to Jamie and Wendy for putting up with you. Putting you up for quite a number of weeks.
14 weeks.
Well said, weeks. Jeff. Well said.
Genuinely, we are very grateful, because I know that might have been a bit of a stress for you as well. But
she kept Nathan in tow, so she was more than welcome.
We had weekly Zoom calls towards the end. We were playing games, and we could just sense that you were getting on very well together, the four of you, and really grateful for looking after us during that time. So thank you very much for all you did there. And these last couple of weeks, as you've wrestled with the restrictions, and you've wrestled with Colin Taylor, I'm not going to mention him again, but it's been quite a challenge. But you've always smiled, Sophie, all the way through it. You don't do anything else but. And you never cease to surprise me with your love and your grasp of technology. Because I think I'm the techie within the family, right? Because that's kind of my job. But you always seem to be able to pick it up far better than I can. Now, we as a family, we actually love Apple technology, as you know. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, whereas Uncle David. But there he is, yeah. We love Apple, right? We've all got 12 Apple phones each. Some of us are lucky enough to have Apple Watches. You haven't got yours on today. Shame on you.
I've got a tan line to show it.
Got a tan line to show. So one of the best things about an Apple Watch is that if you lose your phone, you can press a button and it rings, the phone buzzes, and it's brilliant, because how many times do you lose it on the seat or be on the sofa, or Sarah stuck it in the washing machine or whatever it might be. But if you lose your phone and you press the button on the Apple Watch, poof. Nathan, if you ever lose Sophie, just be very quiet, because you will hear her laughing somewhere in the county. Okay? A couple of weeks ago, we were down here on site one evening. It was unbelievable. There's been 250 people on this campsite. It was buzzing. This place was buzzing. I was at the far end, under the marquee there, gazebo, and I could hear Sophie at this end laughing. I swear to you, I thought, I know exactly where she's on the campsite. You could hear her. So yeah, if you ever lose her, Nathan, just be quiet. You will hear her laughing, I'm sure, at some point. This is a lovely, small, intimate gathering, but there are so many people that we wish could be here today, and there are just a few people that I'd like to mention who I know would be beaming today if they could be here to see Nathan and you, Sophie, get married. The first person that came to my mind, this is not an interpretation, was Grandmama, because she loved her kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. And this is my mum's mum, who was very special to us, and who mum is actually now morphing into in more shape than one. But she would have loved to have been here, and you can just remember her, Sophie. She was a very special lady. And then another person is Uncle Ivor. Now, Uncle Ivor took the place of Ruth's mother-in-law's. So Sarah's dad died when she was very young, and Uncle Ivor, who is mother-in-law's sister's husband, almost became a surrogate father to the family. He was a very special man, and he died very recently. We had an amazing funeral service for him. But he was a special man, and I'm reminded of Uncle Ivor because he also spoke at our wedding, which we watched last week, and he spoke from 1 Corinthians 13, and I think of this passage regularly, and I can see him and hear him in my mind saying it, but he says from Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Love never fails. God's love never fails for us. And Uncle Ivor went on to remind us of the importance of having God at the centre, and we mentioned that this morning with your ring, which is amazing. And from my experience, from our experience, it isn't always easy to put God at the centre of your marriage, but it's essential that you do. And from our experience, praying together, serving together, worshipping together brings you closer together, and it sticks you together, there's no doubt. Nathan, you are a very lucky man, but you'd expect me to say that as being father of the bride. But we know also that Sophie has found in you a true soulmate, a life partner, a person who shares her love of God, her love of worship, her love of dogs, her love of talking. And as the spiritual head of the house, I would urge you, Nathan, to love Sophie as God loves you, as he loves us all. It's a big ask, but I would urge you to do just that. Now, apart from Nathan, I would want to pay tribute to one other amazing person in your life, Sophie. One who has modelled perfectly what it is to be a wife and a mother. Your mum is some kind of act to follow, I can tell you. I said earlier that you're a chip off the old block, and I can tell you that is a brilliant thing to be. You're kind, you're selfless, you're always putting others first, just like your mother does. You're rarely moody, although in mum's case, she's never moody, but you're rarely moody. You always seem to be content. You're always happy with your lot, and that is an amazing gift to have. And you're a godly lady, and we're so proud of you to call you our daughter. When things aren't going well, when the temperature is rising, and maybe the tears are flowing, and hopefully the crockery isn't flying, I want you to remember one thing. What would mum do? What would mum do? Your mum and I are so proud of you, Sophie, this day. We're proud of both of you. In fact, we are truly excited for what God has in store for you in these coming days, and the special plan that he has for your life together. And we will continue to pray for you as you set up home together. Thank you very much.